Hello there, this is the Ramble Transmissions Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Seconds. It's been a little while, I guess. It's Wednesday, February 2023, about 10 p.m. here on the West Coast, California to be exact. I'm not totally sure I like this lighting, but we're just gonna, maybe we'll turn it down a little bit. There we go. Anyway, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing good. I have just been being a person, just doing human things, really. Nothing particularly exciting, although I've done some a good bit of art work, and I've worked on some new songs. It's strange, you know. And maybe I've talked about this before somewhere. So if this is a repeat subject, then just bear with me. I'm going to make it quick because this isn't the gist of this episode. But you know, I continue to write songs despite the fact that I don't really have what I would consider this. I don't know. You know, it's always strange to think of playing music and or making art as a career. For me personally, there are plenty of people in the world that have fully embraced that concept and are very proud of it and happy to do what they do, and they just live it. And that's a big it's an important thing to do. You want to live and own who and what you are. And I do, but I don't, if that makes any sense. I'm not sure why. You know, some people would say, well, you know, you're just insecure, you know, you've got a lack of confidence, you have nothing to, you know, you're great, man, keep doing what you're doing, you know, you're just as good as the rest of them, you know. And it's all nice things when people say that kind of stuff, but you got to feel it 24 hours a day, I think, in order to be at the level of our rock stars and our hip hop stars and our country stars and our, you know, whatever stars. You have to really fucking live it. And there is a part of me that has just never fully gotten into living that, you know, just 24 hours a day. Pardon me for that noise. And I think it's just because, you know, I still enjoy just being, you know, sort of quiet and small and accessible, yet private when I want to be. And I like being left the fuck alone. It's really important for me to be left the fuck alone. Now, obviously, when you're a performer, there is a side of you that enjoys being seen and looked at and heard and noticed and probably stroked a little bit or massaged, you know, ego-wise. And I would probably be fooling myself or just out and out lying if I said that I didn't like that occasionally. But more than that, I really just like to live the life that I believe at that time is honest and pure. And that changes too. So it's not like the same thing all the time. But I do like to keep things simple, and I think it's oftentimes very hard to keep a life of being a or let me backslide a little bit. It would be incredibly difficult to maintain a life of being a really famous creative person. I think that the famous part would get in the way of the creative part, for me personally, not for everybody. So anyway, the point of that being that I still continue to make things as though I'm a touring artist or I'm a recording artist. It's a very strange dilemma. Now, a few years back, I got this great gig, and I can't talk about it too much because I signed a non-disclosure agreement in order to get the gig. But I was paid very well by a company that basically wanted me to create musical content, and it would be for things. The people could use the music that I wrote and for things, and I think it was like royalty-free type of thing. And I've seen visuals, not quite advertising, I suppose advertising, with the music that I created for, and it's great. It gives me this a joy. It puts a smile on my face whenever I see it and hear it. I often said that I wish that I had lived during whatever era it was that there were a lot of jingles, because I always thought I'd be good at that. I love writing little pieces of songs with little fun lyrics, a minute long, 30 seconds long, and boom, it's done. I would have loved to have done it. I'd still love to do it, really. I would have never considered it a form of selling out, because it's just you're still getting to make cool stuff, and you're not making it for the art. You're making it for the fun. You're making it for the someone else's fun, and you're making it for money. I don't make my songs for money, really. I've made money off my songs. I've made money off of my art, but I don't really feel like when I'm doing this stuff, I don't have this sense that I'm trying to sell anything to anybody. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. But when you're doing it for the sole purpose of putting, somebody using it for an advertisement, you're basically just doing it because it's a gig, and it's a fun gig. It's the funnest gig you can have. You got your own studio. You work at your own pacing. There's a deadline, but it's always more than reasonable. And then they pay you a really good amount of cash to do that, and it's a regular gig. And I'll tell you, it was one of the funnest jobs I ever had. Unfortunately, it went away. There were cutbacks, as there often are, and I was part of that little batch of folks who got the cut. But it was really cool. Anyway, who cares? I don't want to talk about that anymore. It's just tragic. Anyway, welcome to the episode. I wanted to talk a little bit about we have 2 dogs. Allison and I have 2 dogs and 1 cat. We've got Rudy the cat, which some of you may know from being on the front of a 7 Seconds t-shirt. And it's actually one of our biggest selling t-shirts. It's really adorable. It's just her face, like looking, and then there's like there's a wreath around it. Normally you see a wreath on a hardcore punk rock shirt, and there's like boots or skull and crossbones. I thought it would be fun to put our cute little kitty face on the front. She looks kind of mad, but she still looks cute. And then we have 2 dogs. We've got Figgy, who is our little boy dog, and if you've heard this podcast, and probably when you start listening to the other podcast, Please Unfriend Me Now, which debuts March 24th, coming up about a month. You'll hear me talk about these goofballs, but there's Figgy, who's just a sweet, cute little weird fruit bat looking dog, and he's adorable. He's funny. He's very sweet. He's got a side that's a little mean side to him when he's scared. That's due to leash aggression. And he's bounced back very nice from a recent injury. He had actually tore his ACL and was just couldn't do anything. We had to carry him everywhere. We had to keep him in a crate in the house, and he just really didn't like it. But he did very well, and he's recovered nicely. And then we have our oldest dog, our beautiful girl dog, Poppy, who just recently turned 6. And Poppy is just phenomenal in so many ways. She's very smart. She's a pit bull, a little bit of some other mixes, but really she's a pittie. And she's very loving, but she's very, we believe she's very judgmental. She sort of has permanent bitch face, She's also really cute, but she's got this sort of underbite. I always get those mixed up. It's when the under sticks out a little bit more. And she just is so funny, and we adore her. But the way we ended up with her was a really strange story, and I wanted to tell it. And friends of ours know this story, so you might want to tune out, because it is rather long, and I swear I am really not going to. I'm going to try to make this not too long tonight. I was out and about doing for occasional money. I go out and do gig work, and I do Lyft. Used to do Uber. I do Lyft more than I do Uber, and I haven't done either. Once the pandemic started, I kind of got a little spooked to do either of them and whatnot, and I picked up on doing food delivery, which you don't really have to deal with too many people. You just pick up the food, keep a distance, and then I drop it off at people's porches and whatnot. And I enjoy the work. I like delivery work. I'm a weirdo. I like driving work, but it's kind of fun to deliver stuff. And so for the last 8 years, I've just done that on and off, and it's been great. I've made money, and I've done good, and I haven't had to deal with too much bullshit. But one day I was out, and I had to go get gas and grab something to drink, and so I stopped at an AM/PM in our town. Now, for those of you who don't know, AM/PM is just a little convenient market. It's 24 hours. It's like 7-Eleven, or I suppose what's the one in the back east in the south? It's got the what is it called? It starts with a W. It doesn't matter. They're actually pretty good. They got actually decent food, unlike AM/PM. But I go to AM/PM, and I had gotten gas, and then I walked from where I was inside to grab something to drink. And as I'm walking, I look over and I see this visibly tattered, homeless person, big kind of gruff looking dude. Looked like I think I want to say he had some kind of camo jacket on, or maybe pants. Just sort of gave off a military vibe, like maybe a vet, but a big guy. And he is pulling. He's got a leash, pulling this little black baby pit bull, and she's fighting him. She just doesn't want to. She doesn't want to walk anymore, and he drags her. He's just dragging her, and she's just being like, no, please, I need it. I need a break. And he was kind of like, come on, you asshole, let's go, and he's pulling her. So he's literally dragging her across this AM/PM parking lot. And I got lightheaded and started feeling flustered and feeling the heartbeat racing, and everything is starting to go no. And I'm going into this fucking weird fucking anxiety panic attack almost, and I just lost my fucking mind. And I just walked directly at him and looked at him, and I'm like, oh, no, you don't fucking do that shit. You do not do this shit. You don't fucking pull your dog across a parking lot and drag her across the thing. You do not abuse animals, you motherfucker. You don't do that shit. You ain't gonna, I'm just going off and off. I mean, I'm really much louder, much more annoying, and probably pretty scary. I'm not a scary guy probably, but I wanted to fucking kill this motherfucker. I did. I wanted to just break his fucking neck. And it really takes a lot to get me that angry. I get pissy. I get, I blow off steam here and there. But to get me into wanting to just physically attack somebody, it takes a whole lot, I gotta say. Animal abuse is one of those big things. I believe that if I ever go to jail for something violence related, it will be because I will see somebody abuse an animal. So I just walk up to this motherfucker, and I'm just yelling at him, and he's looking at me, and he's got the dog, and the little dog just stops and is like, blank. And of course, my first thought is I look down at this little cute fucking dog, and she's looking up at me, and her tail wags, and I'm like, I don't even know how you have it in you, even if you're just one of those people. I'm a wimp with animals. I let our dogs do stupid shit, and I realize that I'm not the best doggy daddy, but I just don't understand how you can be so fucking cruel, and there's no excuse really, So I stand at somewhat of a distance in case he has a knife or he pulls something. And oh, by the way, I grabbed a my God, pepper spray. I always keep pepper spray in my car. I had grabbed this little thing of pepper spray and had it in my hoodie. And I said, what are you doing, man? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Dragging that little animal like that? What is your problem? Like, what? Why are you, And he says, hey, man, no one tells me how to fucking treat my dog. I'll do what I want with my dog. You get the fuck out of here. And actually, I take it back. I didn't have the pepper spray then, by the way. I had also moved the car up to a spot that's closer to the door, just to make sure that I wasn't taking up a gas pump spot. So when I'd walked, I wasn't even thinking about my own fucking protection. I just went. As I'm getting to see this guy, I realize he's much bigger than me. He's bigger, muscular, and he probably, if he was a military guy, he's probably trained in ways that I can't even begin to think about. And so I am starting to feel like, okay, I probably have bitten off much more than I can chew here. But I keep going, and I keep saying, I can't, dude, I don't know what your fucking problem is, but that's just, that cruel bullshit, no, it's not going to happen here. Like, why have a dog if you're going to be a dick? And he just kind of kept saying, you don't tell me what to do, it's my fucking dog, I'll do what I want, da-da-da-da-da. She's being a bitch, she won't do what I say. And I said, she's a fucking puppy. Like, you got to work with her and train her and show her what she's not supposed to do or what she's supposed to do. Like, you don't just drag her across. She's tired. And you're just dragging her. Like, she literally wasn't able to even, her little paws weren't able to catch up. He was just dragging her. And he wasn't even looking. It was like pulling a wagon, and not even looking at what was happening, And, I just kept looking down at her and seeing this sweet little face, and she was just looking up at me and looking at him, and her little tail's just wagging, very sweet and friendly. And then this other guy comes up. He's getting gas, and he walks up and he goes, he just must have seen the whole thing going down, and maybe he was it was his way of trying to, like, ease the situation, but kind of give the guy, the guy with the dog, somewhat of a warning, because I must have looked like a fucking lunatic. And the guy who walked up said, hey man, I wouldn't fuck with this guy. He looks really fucking pissed off, and he looks like I wouldn't fuck with this guy. Talking about me, which is hilarious in its own right. And the guy said, hey man, I don't need any shit. I don't need to listen to any of you people. This is my dog. I'll do what I want. Fuck him. Fuck you. Da 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 da. And then I said, well, fuck you, motherfucker. You're not going anywhere. You're not taking this dog anywhere. You're not taking this dog off the fucking property. And he was like, hey, it's my dog. Fuck you. What are you going to do about it? So I didn't really know what I was going to do about it. I'll be honest. But the first thing I did think about was, I'm going to square back, and I'm going to go grab the fucking pepper spray. And so I did. I just said, fuck you. And I walked over to the car, and I grabbed the pepper spray, and I put it in my pocket. Actually, I put it in my front pocket, and I held on to it. And as I walked back, very quickly, by the way, the guy said, oh, what are you going to do? Shoot me or something? Going to stab me? And I said, yeah, I will. I said, I will. You have no idea. And I did plan on pepper spraying him. I was just gonna. At that point, I thought that there's no way he's gonna just give up this dog. It's his dog. I mean, right? But I just kept thinking, like, he probably just does this, and whether he was being a fucking abusive animal abuser or whatever, he was probably just fed up. He'd been out all day. He was hot, thirsty, hungry. The dog was probably just not doing, she was tired and probably thirsty and probably hungry. So she was just giving up. She just wanted to chill on some grass or in the shade or something. And things had started to, at that point, calm down a little bit. The other guy who had walked up was kind of hovering around, and then he looked at me and he said, you good? And I wanted to say, like, no, please stay here. Please, just, yeah, this guy has a knife. Please just help me. But I said, no, I'm good. And then the homeless guy starts to walk. And I apologize for sounding insensitive. I am assuming he was a homeless guy, and I later found out that he was. So I was making a judgment call, but it turned out that the judgment call was right. So the guy started to walk slowly towards the store, and I kind of walked along with him, and I said, dude, man, look, it's awful. You see these poor animals getting treated like shit all the time, and I said, my wife is is an animal rescue person, and she just sees so much terrible stuff, and I've seen it, and I just can't, I can't just sit back and watch it. And he said, well, she's just trouble. She doesn't, she just won't do what I say. And you gotta teach him you gotta be hard with them sometimes. He goes, I feed her, I take care of her. She's warm at night and da 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 da. And I said, well, so all of a sudden some weird fucking rational behavior, reasonable behavior kicks into gear with me, and I said, well, how long have you had her for? And he goes, I just got her. I found her. Or no, somebody gave him her. And I said, what's her name? And he said, Lucy, which was pretty adorable, I must say. She looked like a little Lucy. And now keep in mind, this is just not too long after we had lost our beloved Lulu, our dog, our first dog ever, actually. Alice, it really was her dog, but she was our dog, and she was just such a sweet, beautiful, wonderful, smart little girl. Border collie mix. She had all kinds of stuff going on in her, and we had lost her to cancer, and it was one of the roughest things that had ever happened to us, and it's still very, very sharp and hard and terrible to think about her. So we'd had our boy dog Hank, who at the time he was with Allison at work. And I don't think we had considered, people said, hey, let us know if you need a dog. There were always dogs, animals needing homes and stuff. So, it was always kind of a thing that we thought about, but we just really didn't feel prepared to take on a new fur baby at that point. But when he said Lucy, it just instantly reminded me of Lulu, our dog Lulu, the name. And she didn't necessarily look like Lulu, but she was just this little black dog. When we got Lulu, she was just this little teeny black tube-shaped dog. And it was a little heartbreaking, and I instantly felt myself. I felt the anger sliding away, like I thought, man, if anything's gonna happen in a positive way, I gotta be reasonable. I can't be a cock, I've gotta do the right thing. So I decided to use respect and kindness all of a sudden after I just verbally fucking went off on this guy in front of a bunch of people. I said, so how long have you had her? And he goes, just not long. I got her, I live on the, in the streets. I live along the river, and she stays with me. And he goes, I feed her all the time. He goes, I feed her better than I feed myself, which oftentimes is true. I mean, we've run into many homeless people who are always feeding the animals. They always have their animals, and if animals got little fat bellies and they look pretty healthy, other than maybe not being clean, or they have fleas, or they're eating awful food. And so I started to, kind of be friendly, and I said, are you from Sacramento originally? He goes, no, man, I'm from Seattle. I'm trying to get back to Seattle. And he goes, I just got stuck here, ended up here, and then I just got stuck here and ran out of money, and I just don't have a way to get back to my, what's left of my family in Seattle. And so we're at this point, we're walking sort of with each other more toward the shady part of the door, and I'm just trying to think. And I said, like, what would it take? What would it take to get you to Seattle? And he said, like, well, I need, I forget what he said. I want to say he said, I probably need like $300-400. I'm gonna fuck this story up too, because now I'm forgetting, like, when it comes to numbers, I get a little just confused. And then all of a sudden I thought, shit, maybe I can just give this guy some money. And so I said, how would you get there? And he goes, oh, I could fly, or, I'll even take a bus. And then I was like, doing, okay. So I said, well, I want to say that I said, well, could I give you, how would you take $300? Would you take $300 for the dog? And of course, like at this point now, I'm just making constant eye contact with Lucy, this little beautiful dog, and she's just sweet she's happy. She's getting to stand still. She's in the shade. She's looking up and looking at us both like, what the hell's going on? Just so cute. And he said, no, man, she's way more than that. And I'd need $500. I'd need $500 for that dog. And who knows? Maybe he could have gotten $500 if she was cleaned up and whatever. But I said, shit, yeah, I don't have $500. I said, I'd like to help you get back to Seattle if I could. I said, let me think about it. Can you hang out for a second? And he asked me if I could. This is something I forgot. He said, could you buy me something to drink? And I said, I'll buy you anything, but I'm not going to buy you booze. And he goes, okay, can you just get me whatever drink you wanted? And then he asked, no, I said, are you hungry? Do you want something to eat? And I said, and he goes, yeah, if they got a sandwich in there. And I said, will you stay here for a few minutes? And he goes, yeah, if you're going to. So went in, got him a sandwich, got him something to drink. And there just happened to be an ATM machine right at the door. I had no cash on me. I never have cash on me. But I thought, if the bank account for the card that I had on me has any money in it, which I wasn't sure. Like I had at that point, I think I had 3. I always have a bank account for my own personal stuff, a bank account for, my driving work, and then a bank account for the band. I don't know why I do this, but anyway, I was thinking, well, I'll raid my driving bank account, driving payment bank account, knowing that there definitely wasn't $500 in there. So I look, and I think there was $300 in there. I think I got 300. I don't remember. See, this is where it's going to get screwed up. So I took out $280 or $260, I think, one of those two. And I put it in my pocket and got his stuff. Came out and gave him his drink and his sandwich, and I said, damn, man, I'm short. I said, would you take $280 or $260? He goes, oh, man, come on, man. This dog is, worth way more than that. And I said, I know. And I said, well, here's the thing. My wife and we just lost our little dog, Lulu. And you said her name was Lucy, and that reminded me of Lulu's name, kind of. She looks very similar. When we got Lulu, she was about the same size as Lucy is now, black, cute. And it would just mean everything if I brought this little dog home to my wife, and would just mend our hearts. And it's funny. I could see that he understood that. He looked at me and he shook his head, and he looked down at her, and I could tell that he got that part. I could tell that he related to that. And again, I don't think he was a mean guy. He probably, if he was abusive, it was just like unintentionally stupid, like about animals. I don't think he was like a mean, sadistic prick. I think he was just tired and sick of her being stubborn. And what I know about the former Lucy, the current Poppy now, is that she is incredibly stubborn when she wants to be. When you're walking Poppy out and around, she's so smart. She knows if you're walking down the street, if there's a landmark nearby, for instance, our one of our close friends, Tom, he's like our dog's uncle. We call him Unky Tom, and they adore him, and he adores them. Like he loves them so much. He takes care of them, feeds them. When we go out of town, he comes over to the house and makes sure he walks, make sure they're eating, and lets them spend the night at his place. And he'll take her around, and she'll remember. For instance, one night I was playing at this little club, and Tom came out. I think he and Allison came with Poppy, And Allison went inside. I don't know the total story. So, Tom, if you read this or if you see this, I apologize if I'm getting it screwed up. But regardless, Tom stayed outside waiting, I think, for Allison to come back out while I was playing and with Poppy. And Poppy knew, people were going in and out of the place. Since that time, this was a few years ago, since that time, anytime they're down on that near that street or a block away, she'll keep trying to pull him to go to that fucking club. He's got video of that he shoots, that he sent to us, and she'll just stop. She won't let him pull her any longer. She does this all the time. She's really smart. Anyway, so what we know of Poppy now, I can now understand that this guy's probably, he's pissed because she's stubborn. Keep in mind, then she was a tiny little puppy, so it just was, you can't drag her now, believe me, if you tried. Nonetheless, he was starting to warm up a little bit, and I just said, dude, if I had more money, I'd give it to you. I just don't, and I'd really like to, surprise my wife, and she would just be, you have no idea how massive this would be and how happy you would make her and me, and we'll take such good care of her. We're good dog parents, and we got another dog at home, and he's heartbroken because Poppy, Lulu was his sister. He was in love. Hank was in love with Lulu, and he just said, okay, man, sure, yeah, I'll take it. $260, or maybe he said 280. I said, oh, well, 260. That's what I got. I think I did have $280, but so I said, all right, let's do it, man. Handshake, and he shook my hand, and I said, hey, if you want, I'll buy it. If there's anything else in the store, I'll buy it. I'll grab something for you if you want. And I don't remember if he did or not. He might have asked for a Gatorade or a couple bottled waters or something. But I grabbed the cash and I handed it to him, and he handed me the. He had her on a leash, but I don't think he gave me the leash for some reason. I don't recall her having a leash, but maybe he did. And so I shook his hand again. I said, hey, man, thanks. Good luck getting to Seattle and everything. He goes, hey, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And he walked off, and I looked down, and I just, as quickly as I could, walked her to my car, and I opened up the passenger side and put her down in the car and shut the door, and I got in the car, and I just looked down at her, and she just looked at me like, I've told this story 100 times, but she just looked at me almost like big ears, big eyes, tail wagging, like, okay, what are we doing now? What are we doing? What, we eating? We having fun? We running around? And she was just so overwhelmingly adorable that I just got emotional, like I was still shaky and I was angry, but I felt like, okay, fuck it. I think I handled this the best way I could. Maybe I shouldn't have given this guy money. Maybe he went out and spent it on whatever. I don't know. It's not my fucking business. I had the money at that point, and I got this little dog away from this person who probably, well, he said, I can't take care of her. She doesn't obey my orders. She doesn't listen to me. I can barely take care of myself. And I just wanted to melt, and I just petted her and kissed her on the head, and she just smelled so bad, like cigarettes, and she was dirty, and Allison later found out she had fleas, and then I fucking freaked. I was like, oh fuck, what am I doing? And so I called Allison. She was at work still at her gym, and she had clients, and she was training them and stuff, and I said, I'll tell you this. The craziest thing just happened. I'll tell you when I see you, but I've got this little dog. I just rescued this little adorable puppy named Lucy. She's black and cute and just sweetheart and so much personality. Already I've been able to just detect. And I said, I don't know what to do. And she said, come here, bring her here. So drove her to the gym, which was, I don't know, a mile and a half or something away. And she just the whole time, she was so little at the time, she couldn't even see over the dash. Now she's a big girl. She can sit in the front seat or sit in any of the seats, and she can look at the window. But then she was just this tiny little girl, and I just kept looking over at her and petting her, and she was being so good, and I just said, well, let's get you to the gym and we'll figure what we're going to do, not knowing whether we'd keep her, if we were ready to take on a new dog yet, or if the wounds were still too fresh or whatever. And I couldn't wait to get to the gym. So I get there, and the big roll-up door to the gym is open because I believe it was summertime, and everybody there, Allison had probably told everybody, and everybody kind of moseys over, and I grab her, and we walk to the gym, and it was just insane. We brought her in, and there's like AstroTurf all over the gym, and she runs in. Our friends Dave and Deborah have this beautiful dog named Alvy, little big pit bull. They fell in love instantly, and they just start running around and playing and just being, adorable. And Allison was just like, I could tell it was sort of love at first sight. In fact, everybody who was looking at her it was just like, couldn't believe it. And I was telling the story, and everybody was just looking at me like, wow, that's insane. And I was just so relieved, to have done something that just was so important. I was not going to let this guy leave with that dog. I couldn't have. It would have just broken me. I couldn't have done it. And I was so happy that I was able to calm down a little bit and talk to him like a human being, which nobody wants to be yelled at. Nobody wants to be, scolded and, made to be belittled and humiliated, especially in front of people. And I'm not proud of how I handled it initially. Initially. It wouldn't have worked. Had I stayed angry, he probably would have swung at me. You know what I mean? And I don't know what I would have done. I mean, I would have swung back. I would have pepper sprayed him, tried whatever I could to get away from him or whatever. But my sole focus was this little dog. And we didn't even have her, an hour, and it was already pretty obvious, even though I think we were still saying, well, we'll take her in, we'll foster her, take care of her, get her to the vet and have her checked out, and then we'll see how it goes, and if maybe we can find a nice home for her. I think that was the talk. I'm seeing stray hairs here, my hair. I don't think that we even really knew if we were going to try and keep her or not, or if we even had it in our hearts to do that. It was also important that she would get along with Hank, our boy dog, and at the time we had Rudy, the aforementioned Rudy, plus our other girl kitty, Gigi. Was Peanut still alive? Our boy kitty? I don't remember. So many sweet little angels in our lives that we lost. But it was just, it just kind of felt miraculous, and I didn't feel a sense of, pride, or I didn't think I did anything good necessarily, but I just felt so happy I was able to get her into a safe place. And obviously we fell in love with her, and that was it. Cleaned her up that night. We gave her a bath, put her in the bath, and she just cleaned her up a little bit. And I was exhausted, just emotionally, physically, mentally, everything. I literally laid down on the dog bed, and we had at the time a little round dog bed in the bedroom, and I laid down with her, and she just kind of melted in my arms. And there's a really sweet photo of that moment. And I just passed out, and she just slept right. Her little head was just on my arms, and she was just like done. And since then we have just we've just learned to absolutely love this dog, as we do all of our dogs and cats and people. But anyway, to celebrate Poppy's birth month, birth week, whatever. We extended her birthday to a week at least. I thought I would share this little story with you. Poppy's doing very, very well. She's very judgmental. We go to the beach or the dog park, and instead of just running, she'll play. She's very picky with who she likes, but she'll play and frolic around with other dogs, but more times than not, she'll just stand in one spot and just look at all the other dogs having a good time. And we make this joke. We have this fake head voice for her, where she's just very judgmental. She's like a Karen, She's like, "You're not supposed to run that fast in the park. You can't do this. It's against the rules." And that's kind of what we do it, and our friends do it, and she seems to have a good. Actually, she doesn't seem to have a good sense of humor. I shouldn't say that. She's pretty serious most of the time, but she's funny. She is funny. She's funny. She just is unintentionally funny, and she's a sweetheart. So anyway, that's my story of how we found our dog, our girl dog Poppy. If it was too sickeningly sweet and gushy, you'll have to just deal with it. That's who I am and what I'm about. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it very, very much. What am I going to say now? If you ever just want to email and reach out to me, if you don't know me well enough to have my phone number, or if we're not connected on social media, pittiestrum@gmail.com is my email. For those of you who ask me how to donate to the podcast, it's not essential. I don't. If you don't, it's no friggin' problem at all. But if you'd like to, you can always PayPal me at rivingloomarts@gmail.com. You can Venmo me at Kevin Seconds. And again, if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. It's nice that you think about it, and it's nice that you do it, but it's not essential. All right, be well, and until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.